this was at the very start of the Crystal Land tours. So,
Yeah.
you know, everything was day by day learning, like, how did this work? Did that work? Or should we do it that way? Like, what's going to be better? Like, you know, and now 5 years on, I think I have the system relatively well figured out.
Oh, that's great. And it's an interesting way to approach tasks. You know, I was reading, you know, about the difference between planning and actually just practicing by doing and failing and learning.
Yeah.
And you know, it might be hard to go through the motions of doing and maybe not succeeding.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
it works. You know, it works
Yeah.
a bit. Like you can plan, but you put all your eggs in one basket and it doesn't work, and then you're like, oh no. So
yeah, then it's
as
a
long
catastrophic fail.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, small little the failures aren't necessarily a bad thing as long as there's some rationality behind what you're doing in the first place.
Yeah, and as long as you can figure out why it failed.
Yeah,
That's the
well, that's
hardest
it.
part. It
Yeah.
might take you a year or two to sit there and just ponder it in your head, and then all of a sudden you're like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it failed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like that light bulb moment is
Like,
a wonderful thing for the future planning, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
goes across all lifespans and experiences, I guess.
100%. I mean, so when I was doing my PhD, it was just a constant daily battle of why isn't this working?
Yeah. Many a conversation was had, same as my honours.
Yeah, it's and especially with honors when it's, you know, you've got like a year to do it, and it seems like a impossible task, you know. But once you get through it, you know, you can pretty much you can do a lot once you've gone through that process, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And
it's good life skills.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Especially for a PhD. I don't know how. I haven't attempted mine yet. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do mine on.
Well, it sounds like you've got a. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. With that, you sounds like you've got the like the drive and the skills to collect the data.
Yeah,
you know, you probably even have a load of data because of all the.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got a fair bit across. Yeah, multiple spots of Indonesia.
Yeah.
Australia, Sri Lanka, and El Salvador now. So
yeah, I mean that's so you
get a baseline data there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there really is a lot. Yeah, I guess it's also the find the time and then maybe even the right place to do it. You know, is that's important too. Like if you're not in the right setting, it can be really difficult. You know.
Yeah.
And supervision massively important. Finding the right person who's going to, you know, be behind what you're doing.
Yeah, and not surfing.
Yeah, because that would take up all the
takes up all the fun, you know. It's the hardest part, I think.
Yeah, so you need to be near the waves.
Yeah, exactly.
Morning surf and
yeah. I'm either, especially now living up on the Ningaloo Reef, I'm mainly spearfishing every day and snorkeling and stuff like that, and then kind of have to drive a fair few hours away back down the south coast in order to actually get weekend trips in to go surfing. So it's a fair way and travel in order to actually go. So it's quite a solid commitment, but I can't complain. I'm still exploring the Ningaloo Reef on a day-to-day basis underwater, so it's pretty nice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I've never made it over to Ningaloo Reef. Of all the places I've been there,
you will love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. I'm surprised I've not managed. Been to WA a few times.
You've always got a spot over here for me, mate. With me, mate.
Yeah. I'll take you up.
Take you out on the tinny.
Yeah, nice. Quite a. Must be some quite. I mean, you told me you were spearfishing, and it sounds like a good way to earn your meal, you know.
You get to have a beautiful dive, like, and explore. You know, every day you see something different. As you know, in the ocean, it doesn't matter how many spots you go, and day in day out, go to a
Yeah,
similar spot or a similar location. The ocean never ceases to amaze. So, you know,
yeah,
like
it's
today, even we saw a whole bunch of different sharks and saw a kingfisher for the first time up in the mangrove areas that
oh
I'd
nice,
never seen up here,
wow,
which was really cool.
yeah,
Dugongs and dolphins, and
oh,
yeah, a whole range
another
of
stuff.
different species. So it's like, yeah, it's never-ending journey,
Yeah,
really, the ocean, isn't it?
I think it's, you know, this. I have a lot of thoughts that, you know, about, right now I'm pretty landlocked, so I'm not so close to the sea. It takes me probably about 2.5 hours to get to the ocean.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I'm we're under lockdown right now, so I'm not able to go. But um, for me, it's always been a place of well, inspiration in every way. But also, I mean, it's a, you know, it's an interesting place, especially when you spend some time at sea. You know, it can be.
Mm,
I find it very reflective of my thoughts. You know, they can be really
yeah,
calm and peaceful, or they can be
yeah.
absolutely chaotic and messy.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
but
Yeah.
sometimes
The
it's
ocean
chaos.
displays both forms, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
everything in between, so it kind of fits.
yeah. And then but it's also, you know, and that you either find your way in those moments of complete calm and tranquility, or in the moments where it's like, this is hell. What am I going to do? And then something clicks and
Oh,
gets
for
you out.
sure.
You know what I mean? It's
We had a situation the other day where my engine failed, like on my boat, and we were probably like a kilometre offshore or something like that. And luckily there was three of us that are pretty salty sea dogs. You know, we've all spent a fair bit of time in the ocean, so we used my bimini, like the shade that goes over your tinny, as a sail. We had one guy at the front of the boat holding on to the bimini like a sail. And we tacked downwind like that, and I was steering it at the back. And then once we got into the point where there was enough, like the swell had kind of cut down a little bit, and we're like well inside of the lagoon, we could take the cowling off the top of the engine
yeah,
and tie a rope onto the throttle there. So my mate, and put that back through the cowling, put the cowling back on. So one of my mates is holding the sail, the other one's holding the throttle and pulling that cord, and I'm steering it. And we made it back.
oh, that
Had a
sounds
couple of sandwiches on the way back and a few beers, and it's just like, you know, the ocean always constantly throws different challenges at you, whether it's conservational based or, you know, you
yeah.
think you understand something and then all of a sudden it'll throw you a challenge.
What stands in the way becomes the way. You know,
Yeah,
so it's a very you know, interesting philosophy that you've in that challenge you found, like, okay, well, I can use this, and I can I can get out of this situation with what I have,
yeah.
and
But be
something you don't really
innovative,
ever think
you
about.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Don't just look at a brick wall, you know? The brick wall's still made of smaller objects, you know, you can figure it out.
yeah,
You just got
yeah.
to keep a
Just
smile on your face and keep having a crack, you know?